This is the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Dory Stewart.
Welcome back to another episode of the FXBG Neighbors Podcast, where we share the stories of our favorite local brands. I'm excited to introduce you to my guest today. We've got Nick Bush joining us, and he is with the Cobi Company. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Dory. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, well, I appreciate you being here, and I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your business. But let's start there. What is the Cobi Company?
So I'm a real estate agent. The Cobi Company is the team that I run through my brokerage called EXP. We help folks who are looking to buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And specifically, I niche down with move-up buyers, so people who own a home and they need that bigger, typically forever home. And then I work with a lot of downsizers also. So we have a lot of those in Fredericksburg. People who've lived here for 25 years, they're empty nesters and they have to move. So I work with a lot of move-up buyers and a lot of downsizers. So those two transition points.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I imagine that's a really strong niche here in the Fredericksburg area since you've got a lot of people moving around.
Yeah, it's great because, Fredericksburg, I always say, I'm from Northern Virginia, Annandale's where I grew up. And I always say Fredericksburg was built up 20, 25 years ago. And so there are a lot of people who raised their entire families here and now they're looking to retire. And at the same time, it's such a great place to live for young families that people are looking to move out here and find that forever home. So it's actually like a sweet spot for both client types.
Nice, nice. So I want to learn more about you. Tell me about your background. How did you get into this?
So I actually got into real estate. I was working in hospitality before I got into real estate. And I was just looking for something I can do, something that, was impactful, but I can control my destiny, so to speak, right? Not have a corporate job. And something that like mattered to people, right? It wasn't about just making money. It's something that mattered. And I actually grew up in a family where there were a ton of renters. And so I got attracted to the real estate space. And really, once I got in, it really became about helping people build wealth through real estate. So that's how I found it. And I've been building it. The foundation of my career is built off of home buying seminars. And now I've been doing it for 10 years. And I have clients that have, bought their first house. And I've worked with people 7 times. So
That's amazing. That's very rewarding when you get to kind of follow someone through their journey of life and see them go through different stages. I love that.
no, super cool. I have a client, Ryan. We've done 7 transactions together.
Wow.
And I met Ryan. He was a single guy. He bought a condo. Then he bought a second one as an investment property he was going to use the first one as an investment property. Then he met his fiance owning that condo. They bought a townhouse. Then they got married. I was invited to the wedding. So I went to the wedding. Then they had a baby. And then just last year, they bought their forever home. So I've actually gone through almost all stages of, his life with him. And so it's actually really rewarding and cool. And it's fun to end up at somebody's wedding because you ended up selling the house and you kind of become part of their life that way.
Yeah, building real relationships. I
Yeah.
love that. So, what are some myths or misconceptions that you hear about real estate?
Well, I think there are 2, right? For people who want to buy real estate, it's timing the market, right? It's like, I got to get in the market at the right time, because interest rates might be high. So when they go lower, I have to make sure I'm shooting at that time. And I think a lot of time for buyers, the biggest myth is that they have to have a lot of money to put down, right? They have to have 20% or they have to have 800 credit score, and that's not true at all. As a matter of fact, last week, my lender and we closed a townhouse for a first-time home buyer who had great credit and great salary, but he only brought $141 to the transaction. And he bought a townhouse, first townhouse, for $385,000. So I think for buyers, it's the financial aspect of credit and down payment funds, and not really realizing there are a lot of down payment assistance programs that allow you to buy a house for $141. And I think for sellers, it was probably more time in the market, right? Should I list in spring? Should I list in the winter? Should I list when inventory is high or low, right? I think there's too many people that are relying on some of those myths right? Instead of reaching out to the the professionals to get the correct answers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good points. Really good points. And someone who is a first-time home buyer, I mean, that's very interesting that, I mean, I even thought, you, especially first-time home buyer, you're going to have a big down payment. But I guess as long as they have steady income and good credit, there are programs for them.
There are a ton of programs. Actually, most first-time home buyers are not putting 20% down. And I've had first-time home buyers who wanted to put 20% down. And I'm like, hey man, like this is your first house. You're not going to be there forever. How about you put less money down, right? And then invest that money somewhere else. And the reality is to qualify for a house, most lenders want you to be at a 640 credit score. So that'll get you an FHA loan. FHA loans, you only put 3.5% down. 680, you're going conventional and you can qualify to put 3% down, for a down payment. And, salary is really about debt to income ratio, right? Like how much are your total bills a month versus what the mortgage payment is going to be. And that's how you get qualified. And then once you get pre-approved, there are just a ton of loan programs that, where you put money down, or you can choose to, hey, I don't want to put any money down. I'm going to use this loan program, such as like USDA, right? Which is a government loan. There's a loan called VHDA where you borrow that 3% and they just like add it on to the loan balance. And then if we get the seller to take care of your closing costs, you're literally bringing nothing. So there's a ton of programs for buyers available. And I think
Amazing.
that people don't know where to find the information
Mm-hmm.
because they're looking online or looking on Zillow and they think it's too good to be true. I mean, if I told someone, hey, you could buy a house for $141, they might think I'm a snake oil salesman, right? And so they just don't reach out for the information, but it is true. And if you connect with your local lender or your local real estate agent, you'll be able to get the answer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information out there that's conflicting too, right? So it can be very confusing and cause a lot of anxiety. So your clients are lucky to have you to walk you through all of that.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. If someone came to you and said, "Hey, I have been watching what you're doing. I love it, and I think maybe I want to get into real estate," what advice would you give them?
That's a really good question. I think real estate is so fun. This question speaks to like, okay, if I can go back in time, what would I
Mhm.
do differently, right?
Mhm.
I think what I would do differently, and the advice that I would give to somebody is that real estate is sexy on TV, right? You have HGTV and you have $1 Million Listing, um, and it's sexy and it's cool. And sometimes it's like that for real. But the reality is you're an entrepreneur, you're operating a business, and you have to run your business in that way, right? So you can't operate like it's a hustle or something fun to do. You have to set a foundational business, and then you have to go talk to people. The other thing about being in real estate, and I'm sure every business in the world, is there, things that you go to seminars, or you go to conferences, and you're like, oh, I'm going to add this to the business. I'm going to add this to the business, right? And I'm going to, get a bunch of leads and a bunch of business this way. Real estate is just a relationship-oriented business. You have to find people to talk to. You have to become a resource for them. And that means you have to be the person that they can come to for information when they want to buy real estate, sell, or invest in real estate. And then you just have to stay in touch. The only reason I can have a client like Ryan, and he's one of many who I've done multiple transactions with, is because I genuinely care about his life and what's going on.
Yeah.
And you find ways to stay in touch from a real estate business aspect, but also you kind of have personal relationships with folks.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that you have to really enjoy people and really enjoy being around people and talking to people. So, yeah, I mean, if you're getting invited to someone's wedding, you're doing something right.
And the wedding was super fun. I actually saw it was funny. I saw a meme on Instagram today. It was an agent, and he had different shots of like him texting, and the caption was, "When my client closes on his house, and I lose my favorite texting buddy," right? Because you've just been talking to somebody, you really become a part of somebody's life for 30, 60, 90 days,
Mhm.
and you create a personal relationship, and it's about staying in touch. And it's rewarding and it's fun, and
Mhm.
it's cool to be in that position with folks.
Yeah. What is something that you wish people knew about the real estate agent industry?
That like I think the thing that I wish people knew about the real estate industry is that real estate agents are actually high fiduciary folks, right? And so I think that, in my humble opinion, I think that real estate agents should really be looked at in the same light as a doctor or a lawyer or a certified financial planner. And instead, I think some people look at us as commodities, right? And I think that we get looked at as commodities sometimes because it's easy to get your real estate license
Mhm.
um, and to kind of get rolling. And I don't think not every agent is experienced and really understands how to do the job well and take care of their clients. Um, but in the reality is, on average, we're helping somebody buy or sell something that costs, a $500,000, and it may be the largest sale or purchase that they ever make in their life.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons why we have to be skillful,
Hmm.
and I think that I wish people just understood what we're doing. There are so many things happening behind the scenes that your real estate agent isn't telling you
Hmm.
to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
And I think that since our business is, we're brokering this transaction, this buy and sell transaction with another agent, the agent and myself, the two agents are just handling the transaction and delivering like
Hmm.
the good news to the client, right?
Yeah.
If they realize, kind of like a trial lawyer, like, oh, there's a bunch of case law that we have to know. There's a bunch of negotiation
Mhm.
that we have to do. There's you have to manage personalities and temperaments, right? I think people would appreciate us in that light the same.
Yeah, yeah. They don't need to know all the nitty-gritty that's going on behind the scenes and all the back and forth. And I love that you say you hand them the good news.
Exactly.
I love that. And so, what do you wish the listeners knew about working with you?
Um, I think that I would just like the listeners to know that I genuinely care about them and their goals in the real estate transaction. Um, Obviously we all work because we need to make money. I have a family, right? Wife and kids, but it's way beyond that. I want like my clients to be satisfied, and I want them to feel like, hey, if I wanted to buy another house or sell another house, I would totally use Nick, and not because I liked him, but because he was a resource. He was informative. He educated us,
Hmm.
and he protected me while I was trying to, make this purchase or sell my house. I think I like to build genuine relationships with my clients. And so I just think that, mostly I just want people to know that like I'm there for them
Hmm.
for real and not just for one transaction. I tell my clients all the time, like, hey, you just closed the house, but now we know each other forever.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. In 7 transactions, that proves it. I love it. So, if the listeners want to connect with you, if they want to learn more from you, where can they find you?
I think the best place to reach out to me or find me is on Instagram. My Instagram is Nick Bush, the realtor. So just my first and last name and then the realtor. That's where I'm posting content every day. I have a podcast also called Real Estate Explained. You can search it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We post a lot of clips from the podcast on to Instagram. But that's where I would say find me on Instagram, shoot me a DM, say hello, and we'll get connected that way.
Amazing. Nick, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you for having me. And also, I know we just met in on virtually for the first time, but you've been
Mhm.
such a resource for me as I need to connect with business owners in the Fredericksburg area, and I have been reaching out to those people, and it's been really good for me and my clients. So I appreciate you just being a resource in the Fredericksburg area.
Amazing. I'm happy to help. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to fxbgneighborspodcast.com.